And experts are, go to an example of one, we'll go to WPDMZ and then come into our applications area. Experts are all of these different types of analysis that I'm bringing up here that we're able to perform within OmniPeek. So as we're capturing all of the packets, we're looking for a large number of performance, and then below here some security type problems that could be going on the network. And just kind of look at the list, right? But they range from things like QoS not enabled to weak signals and physical errors and all that kind of stuff. And what we do with those is as they happen, and you can scroll down, there's performance ones and then security ones as well. And if you're ever curious while you're using OmniPeek about what one of them means, you can really just missing AP, show info, and it'll tell you at the bottom what it is that we mean by a missing AP, what the cause and what the remedy could possibly be. In some of them, there is also settings in here. Most of these probably don't, but some of these, like excessive roam time, probably has a time. So when if you want to tune your excessive roam times, 300 milliseconds. So now any time that we detect a roam and the roam is greater than 300 milliseconds, we're going to get an expert event. Because what does that mean when we get an expert event? When we get an expert event, what it shows is down in this panel we see our event summary. So we see all the different wireless events that we've seen, and we can sort them by severity or by the layer or however we want to, or by the count, etc. So we're looking at a lot of wireless duration attacks. So we might again wonder what are the wireless duration attacks. You come back in and you can go back to the event finder settings and see what the wireless duration attack is really all about by going in that direction. But the other great thing about expert events is if they're related to a particular flow, because what we're looking at in the top panel is the flow. If they're related to a flow, it'll highlight exactly where in the flow those happen. So like a TCP repeated connect attempt, that may actually be something that shows up in a flow, and it does. So as soon as I clicked on that event, granted it's not a wireless one, but as soon as I clicked on that event, it shows me exactly where in the flow. So I know that this TCP repeated connection attempt happened when somebody was trying to connect to the web, and the server was 157, 56, 243, the client was 10.2.0.100, and it was in that particular flow when those particular ports were open, and we're able to quickly drill in and figure out exactly what's going on in that area. Want more detail in that, you can always right click and do something like select related packets and filter out just that problem. So experts are great for helping you to very quickly zoom in on a problem and figure out what might be going on the network. The reason I didn't click some of the wireless ones, a lot of the layer 2 kind of stuff isn't related to a particular flow. It's just something that's happening at a particular time, so it doesn't actually highlight something above.
So I'm showing events showing up without a red dot next to them, without any sort of alert. Like they look like they're at the bottom of my list. So if you scroll, like in your top window there, scroll all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
See how you've got a bunch of them that are just green with no red alerts next to them?
So these are flows that we saw earlier on. So events would be listed here, and then flows would be listed up here. And the fact that these are not green anymore means they happened sometime in the past, or we tried to we tried to categorize these into flows, right? These are things where we didn't get many packets at all. So maybe we got a bit of something or whatever, but we still captured the data. So we try to categorize it into a flow. But these aren't the experts. The experts are down here. I'm not sure if I don't feel like I'm addressing your question.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't sure why they're showing up in the first place, right? Because isn't this supposed to bring our attention to something? If something's behaving correctly, why are we drawing our attention to it? Right, I don't see any red alerts anywhere.
And there aren't any. So we didn't bring attention to this, right? I scrolled all the way to the bottom and found those flows at the bottom.
Right, but I have flows at the bottom of my list that are green, like they're filled in, like that one's filled in like green, which means it's active. But there's nothing red next to it. Like why is that showing up in the list?
Because there's been activity in the last few seconds.
It's not an error flow.
Yeah, there's no error. There's no
highlighting event.
I think what's going on here is you're thinking about it in terms of something is wrong because I'm getting triggered an expert rule. So the bottom half, and I think there's a little bit of disconnect between the top window pane and the bottom window pane.
These are two very different panes. So this pane is the problems that we've detected. This pane is strictly flows categorized by application.
And that's the problem, is that in the other views, like when you're in the Compass view, where it was, if we had it selected up in the top pane as megabits or data rate, that's what directly changed the bottom pane. That's where your disconnect is coming from, is that when Sam's looking at that, he's looking at those traffic flows and then saying, oh, there must be rules or there must be errors or something.
Yeah, they're showing up for some reason, right? Because I don't show every single bit of web traffic, I don't show every bit of traffic showing up. Some of it shows up with a red dot, some of it shows up with a green dot.
And it's actually reversed. If you click down here, you will get a flow.
Yeah. Right, it is exactly. It is in reverse, right? If you click down here and it's something related to a flow, it'll tell you where in the flow it happened. I mean, but yeah, all these dots do mean something. So the green meant there was recently active activity. The fact that as we start to drill down, you see that there are these different colors. This does tell us that there are expert events related to that. So you can get to the experts in two directions. So once I get to there, I can go down, and then I do have a whole bunch of experts, right, or problems, etc., that were related to that flow, even though it happened in the past. So as you drill down, you will eventually get back to that same kind of place if there were problems. As when we were further down, the ones that you were looking at, kind of down in this area, right, some of these just don't have any problems. So it hasn't been active lately, and there were no expert events that were turned up there. So that's why there's no other, no colors around it or no anything else. It's just there wasn't anything wrong there. We just picked up some packets in that flow and recorded them, and that's it. Yeah. Well, that's good. The experts is really a pretty powerful area. And one of the things that I forgot to mention earlier about Compass is that.
There's too many events for this.
Yeah, now there's too many. So if we zoom in, though,
smaller.
Maybe not. Well, we'll come back maybe to here. Yeah. I don't think we even have any here. So in Compass, and we're not picking up any right now, but we normally list the experts underneath here as well. So you'll see them in a time view, but right now we've exceeded our limit of expert events here for that.